You're listening to We're Talking Drums, creating conversations with the world's top drummers in the most extreme genres. This episode is brought to you by Los Cabos Drumsticks, Canada's #1 choice for drumsticks. They provide the wood you need to make the beats you deserve. Los Cabos Drumsticks. Now with your host, Corey Hopping.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the We're Talking Drums podcast. Hello, all you party people out there. It is summertime. Hopefully you guys are getting out and enjoying some of the wonderful sunshine. Maybe getting some drinks on the patio. Maybe going for hikes, staying healthy out there. I myself love to go for runs, so this nice weather, getting out on the trail, getting in those 5Ks feels good. Keeping that cardio up as drummers. We got to make sure we keep our cardio going. Getting that bulk is good, lifting those weights, do it, get big and strong, but cardio is crucial. God damn, enough about that stuff, guys. Okay, I know you don't want to hear me ramble. If you are a first-time listener here, then welcome. Hello. I am the host, Corey Hoffing. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome you to the podcast. And this is episode 80 of the We're Talking Drums podcast. And I have a very, very special guest today. It is my good friend and fellow tour mate, if you will, Ben Turk from Gloryhammer. I caught up with him when Gloryhammer was doing a headlining run on the Red, White, and Hoots tour, I believe it was called. This happened months and months ago, and finally I get the chance to put it out to all of you. We had a absolutely amazing conversation. Before we get into that, though, I recently did a drum clinic at the Burlington location of Long McQuaid. I just want to give a big shout out to Chris Steed and everybody at Long McQuaid that helped set that up and make sure everything ran super smooth. It was absolutely amazing. It was my first drum clinic ever, and I couldn't have done it without you guys and everybody who showed up, asked all the questions, applauded when I was done a song that was, making me feel good. It was amazing to get to perform and talk some drums with you guys. I can't wait to do it again, honestly. Another big shout out to the sponsors, Mapex Drums Canada and Craig there, and Phil at Los Cabos Drumsticks. So many giveaways for everybody. It was so generous. You are amazing, my friend. And of course, Larry at Evans Drumheads. Thank you guys for all the support, supporting my career, all the support for the clinic. It was absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to do it again. Also, big thing with this podcast. Okay, big announcement. If you guys did not know, we do have a Patreon for this podcast. It keeps the wheels turning. Everybody who's a part of the community, thank you very much. You guys are absolutely amazing. Every single dollar from that goes to keep this podcast going. In this day and age, everybody has a podcast, and if we want to keep this train rolling and keep it going, then you know what? The support from you guys is absolutely amazing. I love you guys for it, and thank you very much. And in return for that support, I try to bring some value to the Patreon. It's not very much. It's only $2 a month, but you get all the episodes early. And now, with this podcast, we are doing a very exclusive giveaway for Patreon members only. Okay? Our guest today, Ben Turk, has been so generous to offer up a TCI drum sample, which all you recording nerds should know, and almost everybody who plays drums these days also records themselves, right? So if you want the drum sample from the latest Gloryhammer recording sessions, then you can get it today by signing up to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/We're Talkin' Drums. Okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to drop a sub and then look below that and there will be a link to the Patreon. And if you are listening to this on your streaming service of choice, then make sure you follow, leave a 5-star review if you can, and then look in the show notes and description. There should be a link down there to the Patreon. You can pick up your drum sample and you will get all upcoming episodes early. And we're going to have some other little giveaways for our Patreon members just to show a thank you for all of your support. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I am so lucky to get to talk to all these amazing drummers and then share those conversations with you. So thanks again to everybody. If you want to sign up, that's patreon.com/We're Talking Drums. And get your drum sample today. Okay, we're going to move right into this podcast. Enough shameless promotion, okay? You guys are here because you want to hear me talk to Ben Turk from Gloryhammer about some drums. Well, in this episode, we do talk about drums. We talk about the difference between having a real drummer writing parts and having a guitar player write drum parts, or how one of the songwriters may write some drums and then being a drummer trying to interpret that and figure out what the best plan of action is going into a recording session. We talk about Spinal Tap. If you haven't watched Spinal Tap, go watch Spinal Tap and then listen to this. But I'm sure you guys all know that their amps go to 11. So I think that you'll be okay. All right. I'm just going to let the conversation speak for itself. I'm stumbling over my words. We're going to finish this up. Here's my conversation with Ben Turk from Gloryhammer. Ben Turk, welcome to the We're Talking Drums podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. It's nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you too. It's been almost a year.
Yeah.
Near, end of May at least.
What's that?
It's been like 10 months. Yeah.
10 whole months.
10 months since we've parted ways. How's this tour been for you guys?
It's been good. It's been, feels long. What is this? 4th show today? 5th show? I think it's 5th.
It's already feeling long.
And it feels like a long
shows.
time. Well, we started in Mexico, so we flew in and we did one show in Mexico.
Right.
And we had so that's like 12-hour flight from the UK, and then the show the next day, and then we went and we looked at some pyramids, which was cool.
Yeah, I saw those photos. Yeah.
But it was obviously busy. It was like fly in and then show and then walking around in the heat and the dust, and then fly to New York the next day, and then walking around in the rain and the misery and then a show, and then I had wet shoes, and then I still had wet shoes like 3 days later, but I dried them in Montreal with a hairdryer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
And then in between, we had there was some drums. I played the drums.
You played the drums?
For some people.
Yeah.
And they watched, and they clapped and they cheered. And I don't know if that was because of me or if it was because of, goblins and hammers and other stuff. There's a lot
Wizards.
There's a lot of stuff going on in front of me that I think takes more like people's attention away from what I'm doing, which is probably for the best. Because I'm not perfect, and yeah.
Well, I would disagree though.
Well,
on that tour we did, there wasn't a single night.
I think if these gigs were like exams, I wouldn't expect to get a perfect mark.
No, but you'd probably be.
If it was Guitar Hero, well, I wouldn't be playing the drums. If it was Rock Band, I wouldn't be getting 100%.
No.
So it's a good thing there's a goblin.
Mid 90s maybe.
I don't know.
What do you think?
It depends.
Or you're
depends
like
how the scoring works.
13?
I think this is when I'm playing a show, this is how I imagine it. I think about it in terms of like rock band, like as the percentage just gradually goes down. That's like every time I make a mistake, I'm like, oh, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. I don't think that's how people experience live music.
It's really
I don't think
not,
when you go
no.
and watch a band, I don't actually think that's how the audience feels. But in my head, during the show, that is how they feel.
Right.
So I just get progressively more and more annoyed.
But the thing is, like, well, I know in Guitar Hero, at least, I don't think I've ever played Rock Band, but like Guitar Hero, you can win the crowd back, though.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? Like,
if you do the...
Yeah, you
I just
start
need to figure out how to do that in real life. Like,
in real
what's
life.
the drum equivalent of the...
like throwing
guitar.
stick
I
spin.
see. I'm no good at that. I always
know?
focused on playing the drums because if I tried to do something like that and I dropped it, I feel like that's just. Also,
you end up dropping them.
Also, I can
it
I can
happens.
throw all the sticks I want, but let's not forget there's a goblin.
There's it
doesn't matter what kind of stick. I could throw all my sticks. I could throw the sticks at the
You could light
ceiling.
your sticks
I
on
could fly
fire
up to the
and-
ceiling, and the
no one
goblin is going to take precedence over all of that.
Yeah.
So
Is there really a point?
What's the lesson here? Why worry? Life's a goblin.
Life's a goblin.
Relax.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
All right. I think that sums everything up. We're good here. All right.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
We 100%.
Yeah.
Completed it.
Yeah.
Perfect
that's it.
score.
Perfect score. We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
All right. But realistically, like the way that you play the drums and what you do, you don't really hear the mistakes with the full band. You know,
No.
those little mistakes that you think that you make doesn't come across to the audience.
Because there's so much
They
going
don't-
on as well.
There's so much, and there's so much in your music, and it's so like theatrical in that
Yeah.
way. Like there's so much to see and hear and focus on.
Yeah.
Those tiny mistakes aren't going to add up to anything, right?
In
So-
reality, I
Yeah.
know this, but I can't hear it. I always if the audience could hear what I was hearing, they would probably ask for their money back.
So
It
what?
would be like a metronome and some drums, and like I don't even have half the drum kit in. I think something to do with like available inputs, but
Yeah.
when with our bigger setup, because obviously we've flown in for this, we've got limited gear,
Yeah.
and because of that, I can't have stuff like the toms going to my.
Oh, really?
mix. I think it's like one kick of two. The mic is I don't even know why it's in there. I have the trigger that goes straight to me, so I can hear the kicks.
Yeah.
And the snare and the overheads, but there's no toms. So
Oh,
and like
wow.
yesterday, for instance, I couldn't even hear the toms. So
Like non-existent. Yeah.
like even though they're in front of me and I'm hitting them
yeah.
pretty hard,
They're not coming
I have a
through
feeling.
the overhead
I have like
enough.
a sense of some kind of having hit something,
Yeah.
but not a lot of sound. So it's from that point of view, yeah, it's a really disappointing experience. It's like click, 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 click. One shot trigger sound.
Yep. That's
Ringy
it. You're
snare
kick-
from the top snare mic that's probably slightly too close to the head. So it's like doom, doom.
Yeah.
And then this overhead's too close to the crash. So it's like doom.
And then, this crash is way louder than that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rubbish.
yeah, that sounds awful. I would
it's-
fix that.
I would if I could.
Yeah. I would.
But I'm a professional. So
I
I
would
just have
talk
to
to
grimace.
Zach and be like, "Can you
can judge-
fix this for
You
me?"
can judge how much of this kind of thing I've experienced during the show by the face I'm making in the end of show, the crowd picture.
the crowd photo. Yeah.
Like if I look genuinely pleased, like if it's like I've had
Yeah.
a good show. If I
Yeah.
look like
yeah, I'm
that
here.
that probably means that some kind of thing like that was bugging me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know ever since we started running full in ears, I'm like, I need all my drums, all
It's
my
weird.
drums in my
It's-
ears.
It's like it's a weird. It's weird what it does to your perception of what you're playing.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like if I can't hear enough of, especially stuff like toms, then you hit them harder.
Way
and you
harder.
lean forward, and it
Yeah.
throws your balance off, and then it's like this whole chain of things that can kind of screw up what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
And like also the trigger volume. If I have the triggers turned up too loud, I subconsciously lean back,
yeah,
and then that kind of makes. And so because I'm trying not to press them because it feels like they're really loud, but obviously it's just like a one shot.
It's a
doesn't-
one-shot snare.
it's
It
not
doesn't matter
really
how hard
connected
you
to the
hit it,
dynamic. Like it's a
right?
little
Yeah.
bit of dynamics, but it's so different to the live kick sound.
Yeah.
And our mix is mostly live kick. So it's
Okay.
the trigger is just there as like just to fill in a little bit of attack when in the faster sections.
Bits. Yeah.
But yeah, so those kind of things, like it really does. It really does affect the way that you actually play the drums and the way that you interact with the instrument. Just like anything, I mean, it's like a guitarist, you know, how your gate is set or how much gain you've got, stuff like it affects the way that you attack the strings and you mute stuff. And this stuff, it really, it's like all part of the kind of mental side of
Absolutely.
cultivating a good performance, like getting a good performance out of yourself. You have to have. I don't know if it has to be accurate, but it has to be like supporting the way that you need to play.
Yeah.
Like, and I think especially balance. Like anything that throws you off balance when you're doing this kind of stuff and you're playing like both feet all the time, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
balance is the most important thing. And when you're doing like both hands and feet playing at the same time, you've got to lean around here and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
If you're in
moving
slightly
around
the wrong
the
position,
kit while your feet.
you always
are
end up
hovering,
if you end up like leaning forward on the pedals, and then you have to play something but you can't because your weight's already there, or if you had to try and support yourself.
Yeah.
It
just throws
make
you.
things really difficult.
Yeah, it makes everything difficult. It throws you right off, and then like sometimes that transition in the next part, you flub it a bit because you're not balanced properly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know, like we fully EQ and put reverb and everything on all. Well, I went through and like EQ'd compression, like for my snare. Like I got like EQ'd out all the ring. It's like, I don't want that. Even if it's going in front of house, I don't want that in my ears.
Yeah.
You know, so my kit sounds amazing in my ears.
I think,
and I want it that way.
And that encourages you to. You want to feel good,
right? I want to have a fun time up there.
I feel like maybe this is the drummer thing, but you end up you're always compromising on stuff like that. You're always dealing with all of this other kind of stuff. A guitarist can dial in their guitar tone, so it's exactly how they want it to sound in their mix. And probably these days you could have a separate tone for on stage and out front if you really wanted.
Yeah,
it's probably possible to do that.
Yeah, you can probably.
But for a drummer, there's so many things involved, so many factors, like the positioning of every mic and all of the other things like that.
And the room, every room
exactly.
sounds different.
And you get into you go in a room with a high ceiling. Yeah. Where previously you had like a low ceiling, all the reflections are gone, suddenly you can't hear the cymbals.
Yeah.
But you don't know that because especially because maybe it sounded good in sound check, and then the crowd comes in and they soak all of that up, and suddenly the cymbals are gone.
Yeah.
And then you start laying into the cymbals more, and then you lean forward,
and then
you screw up the transition.
Yeah. And then you break a cymbal.
It's a nightmare. Why do we do this, Corey? Why did we play this instrument? This is the wrong instrument to play. We should have played something like bass.
Bass.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I started playing bass. That was my first.
That was my first real instrument in a band.
Yeah, I was never in a band playing bass, but it was the first instrument that I actually, first like rock instrument that I started
before guitar,
and before drums, and I think they were all quite close together. But
I started guitar. And then my brother needed a bass player, and he's like, you can play all the songs on guitar, so you can play it on bass.
I think it was like I wanted to play bass because it was like kind of 2002 new metal. Okay. It was just the wave of new metal was kind of just cresting, and it was about to completely disappear. But bass was a big deal in all of those bands. The bass player was kind of important in a way that
kind
they
are. When you look at like Korn,
or
like
Papa
Limp
Roach,
Bizkit too.
Limp Bizkit, Sam Rivers is a great bass player. They were like really good.
The groove was a huge part of that band.
It wasn't just like following the kick drum pattern and following the guitar stuff and just creating low frequencies in the background. But I remember I decided I wanted to play bass without actually knowing what a bass looked like. I'd never seen one. I remember I knew what they sounded like. I was like, that's a cool sound. I want to make that sound.
Yeah.
I had never seen one until I remember seeing like a catalog with like Ibanez catalog or something with a picture of a bass. I was like,
what's that
cool.
thing?
That looks cool. But
Yeah.
so
I remember my cousin played bass when I was young, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to play bass." And he's like, "Oh no, your hands are too small. You can't play bass. You'll never be able to play bass." And then I ended up playing bass a couple years later, and I was like,
it doesn't make
"This
any
is
sense.
fine."
It's
Yeah,
like
I was like, "Why are you trying to discourage me?"
you only need
know?
one finger. Right?
Yeah.
One finger up to about like the 5th fret on the E string and you're done. That's
You're
like,
done,
That's
yeah.
all of popular music since 1951.
That's it.
Completed. 100%.
100%. Yeah. But drums are the most fun instrument to play.
Yeah.
I would argue that
I think
it is the most fun. You just get to hit stuff. It
Yeah.
sounds good from day one. You know,
you can't really hit guitars. That
No.
actually was always the thing that I struggled with the guitars. I wanted to hit it.
yeah, you
But-
can't hit it.
When you hit the guitar, it stops working as well. And I don't mean not just being facetious. Like obviously, if you literally hit the guitar, you would break it. I wasn't trying to break my guitar, but I was trying to
Yeah.
really play extremely hard. And if you want to be a twiddly metal guy, which I kind of was never that interested in, but like you've got it's all tiny little motions. Everything's so subtle and small, and there's no hitting.
Yeah, there's no like
Sometimes it's nice to be able to-
aggressiveness in the way
and,
the
like,
drums are aggressive.
Yeah, it's acceptable to have that, like the physicality of playing the drums is fine. You can be a very accomplished player and still have that physical element.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
I guess that was appealing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they're the most fun.
And it's
Yeah.
also like, I think when you're as a drummer, you're like an arranger as well. You're kind of in control of shaping the music.
Yeah.
In a way, even choices like whether you play the hi-hat or the ride cymbal in a section,
Yeah, that's a
or
big decision.
opening the hi-hat, or how it sounds kind of silly, but it really is like
Yeah.
the difference that it can make to the way that a section feels. Like,
Yeah.
if you want it to have like a kind of intimate feel or a more kind of expansive feel, or you want to have like, or you're playing like 16ths on the hi-hat with one hand or two hands, or
Yeah.
you do some, or you play the bell of the ride, or you do accents. So it's like the amount of control you've got over the way the music feels without changing anything else is huge.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of the reasons why drummers often make quite good, audio engineers, or you're used to thinking about, even though you play one instrument, you're used to thinking about this whole, like the whole spectrum, the whole frequency spectrum from the low end to the high end.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, everything. Do we have a special guest coming in? Someone breaking in?
Did you read the chat? What? Could you come back later? Could you come back a bit later, please? And that's why guitarists are bad people.
Yeah.
They don't read their WhatsApp messages. He's fine, really, but
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. We're allowed to have special guests come in, He could have come in and had a chat. But
no.
but I do
Drummers only.
drummers that's
No
right.
pools.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely no bass players. There's a big no bass player rule. They're not even allowed to watch this. All that bass player talk.
Okay, that's only
Yeah.
allowed because we also play the drums.
Yes.
Primarily drummers.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you are right. Like, and even when I started playing the drums at first, you get this sense of control musically that you have.
Yeah.
Right. When you start writing music with people and everything, and then you're thinking, well, what am I going to play over that riff?
Yeah.
And like, I like the whole song to be written in full, solos and everything before I record, because I want to accent that like little trill you do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want to be playing with everything that I can.
Or even vocal like vocal phrasing and stuff like that. And you also need to like you need to build the energy of a section into another section.
Yeah.
I actually hate programming drum parts. If I ever program a drum part, even if I'm writing something, like trying to get that live feel, you have to go back. You can't just like go, oh, this is in time with whatever. You have to go back and listen to from the beginning of the song and feel like how does like pre-chorus 2 feel by the time you get there? Is that feel enough? You can listen to it from like verse 2, and go through like 16 bars or whatever, and it seems like it's good. But when you hear it in the context of the whole song, you realize it's actually a little bit too much, or it doesn't quite do enough to lift it into the next chorus because you need that extra bit of excitement and it's that goes to show, I guess, like how important the drum part is in rock music and metal music and stuff like that. It's
big time.
If you take that away, what do you have?
And that's why like all these guys just programming drums and just putting it in, it's like it's not the same.
It's
you
not
know,
the same.
even if you have a
there's
drummer programming it, it's still like
there's whole bands that do operate like all the kind of genty bands. That's literally how they, you know, somebody programs a drum part and the drummer has to sit and learn it, and
hopefully well, or they just
the successful ones
put it in the backing tracks, you know.
The unsuccessful ones I guess just never do a gig because they realize it's impossible. I mean, like the Gloryhammer stuff, if Chris Bowes has written a song, he doesn't try and write playable drum parts, which is fine because I interpret it as whatever. But he'll have like, remember, like there's a song on the first album, Hail to Crail, which had hi-hat and ride cymbal and tom fills and crashes and snare and kick all happening at the same time.
At the same time.
It was like a different hi-hat pattern to the ride pattern, and crashes doing accents, and then toms sort of
you
leading
need 8
into
limbs.
like, so I had to kind of I had to figure out which one was the important one at each time and piece those all together. Yeah. So that they were, but it was quite a cool, like it actually helped to have that. It's cool to have suggestions that you can incorporate into a whole thing. But yeah. I have also known some guitarists who'll write like completely linear drum parts that just don't make any sense at all. It's just like a kick and then a hi-hat and then a snare and then a tom and then a snare and then a hi-hat and then there's like
and
it's like this
one
long
thing
weird
at a time,
like this long weird story that doesn't make any sense. It's like some incoherent kind of narrative that you're trying to piece together. It's just like sometimes
you got to fill in the blanks.
Sometimes the best thing you can do is just have something that goes
just give me a metronome. I'll figure it out. But when like Lothar was writing stuff, once we have like the guitars down and stuff, I just hop on my kit and I'll just play a bunch of different stuff, do a bunch of different takes, and then go back and listen to it and copy paste it.
Yeah, because like, it's good. I think if you're in a way, the less you think about it, like it's good to have the sort of just see what comes out, like the creative. It's like that kind of flow state where you're not intellectually deciding each thing that should be there. You're just engaging the process and seeing what happens. And sometimes you'll do something you weren't even intending to. Like, I'm sure you've probably had this experience where you're doing a show and you make a mistake, or you play something that didn't quite go how you thought it was going to go, and then you liked it. Yeah. So you kept it. You're like,
I'm going to play that tomorrow too.
I know. I've seen I always like watching videos of shows back because then because occasionally I'll notice that I did something. Yeah. And I'll be like, that was cool. Where the hell did that come from? I'm going to do it again.
Well, even so the tour we did last May, we had our new album done and mixed and mastered and everything. Then when we were rehearsing to go on tour, I was like, ooh, I'm not going to listen to the song on the record. And we just rehearsed it. And then I went back and listened to it. I'm like, oh, I play these parts very different now. Like it has the same feel, but I'm like, there's so many parts I wish that I could go back and change on the record.
That always happens to me as well. But also on record, I always try and, because music's complicated. Yeah. There's so much going on. I'm not trying to make the drums like in your face cool all the time. They're a supporting part. They need to be a supporting part. Yeah. So sometimes, I will hold it back. Like even things like crash cymbals, I'll be like, no, I'm not going to play a crash for 16 whole bars before I play another one, just to create extra space.
Right. And then when you do hit the
when
crash,
I come to the show, I feel like, yeah. Sometimes that feels like it's a good idea on a record. And then I will occasionally think, did I go too far? Is it too minimal?
Did I do
Is
not
less,
enough?
Is less really more? Maybe less was less.
More is more.
Sometimes more is more.
Yeah.
Sometimes less can be more, but so can more.
But so can more be. Yeah, more can be more.
More can be more.
Yeah.
But
when is less
is it? When is
actually
less?
more? But when does less get to be actually less?
And if less is more, then more must sometimes be less, right? Or that's like if sometimes less is more, less equals more. That means more equals less. You have to be able to do the equation the other way around.
But
so that means
if sometimes more is more, then sometimes less is less.
Yes, because less must equal less because that's what it is.
It is.
If you're thinking like algebra, if we say less is L, L equals L. It has to equal L.
Yeah.
But L also equals M.
Yeah.
So if that means L equals M, that means that less and more are the same thing. In algebra terms, like mathematically speaking, less and more are equal.
Right.
Even though
that can't be
less. So like more is greater than less as well.
But more is greater than less. Yeah.
So we've got so maybe what this means is like Yngwie Malmsteen was right when he said more is more.
More is more. Yeah.
Like it is true. How can less be more? That's what he said. And we laughed. Everyone laughed at him.
Everyone laughed. Yeah.
We thought that he was wrong, but we've just proved beyond all doubt
that
like scientifically that he was correct.
More is more. Yeah.
So more is more.
Yeah. But it can also be less.
Yeah.
But when it comes to playing live, you want to do more.
Yeah. I always like kind of drummers who play on top of the song as well. Like it can be done badly.
Of course.
You can it can be a train wreck. But drummers like John Bonham or like Eloy Casagrande or like Keith Moon or there's a time, or even like Larnell Lewis or so, like a lot of the kind of like he's an unbelievably tasteful drummer.
I actually went to high school with him.
Really?
I found that out like a couple months ago.
You didn't know?
Well, I remember a guy because he's like 4 years older than or 3 years older than me, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember a guy playing in our cafeteria, and he was like playing the drums, and then he'd pick up a bass and be playing a groove with his feet, and then like ripping the bass. And I was like, that guy's amazing. And I popped up into my head, and I was like, I hope he kept playing drums. And then I like thought about it, and I was like, "Wait, Larnell Lewis is kind of from my area."
Albert Einstein,
like pretty much, essentially, right? And I was like, "Okay,
wow,
good, all right." He kept playing drums. Good for him. Yeah, it's like
he's terrifying. He actually scares me. I remember I saw Snarky Puppy, in London. The first time I saw them, this was like 2013, 14 or something like that.
Yeah,
and he just looked so scary. He has this grin, like when he's playing, or like I forget what's the I can't remember what song it was. It might have been the end of Binky or something, but it was like there was some song where he started doing this like metric modulation thing, where it's like playing triplets but phrased in fours, so it was like a completely different tempo against the rest of the music.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing him at the back of the stage with this like a grin I can only describe as evil. And it scared me. It thrilled me and it scared me at the same time. But when you hear him speak, he's just such a softly spoken, erudite guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not scary at all. But he has that scary energy within him for performance. Which I think I don't think there's a higher thing to aspire to.
No.
Than being like a really nice guy who is just like a scholarly and an amazing teacher, and is then just will get on the drums and put like fear in you.
Yeah, it turns into like a monster.
I know. Yeah. It's like if I could, I hope one day that somebody watches me play the drums and they feel afraid.
That's your goal. That's your goal.
That's like, I think that might actually be, because I think that's again like there's that sort of animalistic thing. It's not
primitive.
It's not just the aggression though. It's the sort of the command of the music.
Yeah,
you are in control of the music. It's not the guitarist.
No,
we let certainly not the bass player.
No,
and the singer's off doing whatever. I mean, he's at the lunch, the band could leave and they'd carry on. They don't know.
Yeah,
they're in their own world. They just
absolutely.
They'd be taking selfies with the crowd and stuff. They'd be like, everything's great.
Yeah, and band just leaves. But drummers in control of everything, right? Yeah. We let everyone else think.
Yeah, they like to think that they're in control.
Yeah, but it's not happening.
No.
Yeah. But speaking of transforming into people live when you play drums,
yes.
How does it feel turning into a submarine captain in space when you get up there?
Well, honestly, I kind of...
Do you get into character?
I don't think I have. I don't actually think that... I don't really think I have a character. I think the character is me. It was always so vaguely described. Like originally, it was Mysterious Hermit. Well, what's that? What's mysterious? Mysterious isn't a quality that you can embody easily.
No, not really.
It's almost the absence of one. So it meant that I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to try and be something on stage because I guess I didn't really. I didn't want to. I spent enough time trying to figure out who I am.
As a human being,
additional effort of being somebody else.
Yeah,
seems like way too much work. So, I guess it's kind of. But I think it's true of everyone. Everyone's characters are kind of them in a way, like a sort of hyper exaggerated version of what they really are.
I can definitely see that. Yeah,
and which is maybe why they are compelling in the way that they are.
Yeah, you can really sell it because you're just kind of being you.
Exactly, and so it's even though it is fake. I mean, like Mike, for instance, he's literally an evil wizard.
Yeah,
it's who he is in real life.
Yeah, it's not fake at all.
I can't think of anybody who is more like an evil wizard than Michael Barber.
Yeah, no.
Even Chris Bose. He's the original evil wizard, but I think Mike is actually taking it to a new levels of evil.
Oh yeah.
So, but from my point of view, I struggle sometimes to know what the bits of the show where I have to kind of go to the front of the stage, or like when I go on stage and I have to sort of announce myself to the audience. I do kind of think like, how do I do this? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Well, I know why, but I guess it doesn't come as naturally to me as to some people.
As to some people, yeah.
It's also because it's just that one moment, and the rest of the time I'm hidden. I mean, especially with the when I've got my full drum set up, there's so much in front of me. 6 toms and
how many
3 crashes and chinas and stuff. I have a china right in the middle. People have complained that they can't see me.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
That's
not very many
problem.
people.
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's what I told him. That's what I said. I was like, well, I need to hit that. It's in the middle, so I can hit it because that's in front of me. There's a nice empty space there.
Yeah,
I put a symbol there because it's in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't care if it blocks the view.
It's a perfect place for it. Like,
it's perfect. Exactly. It's the perfect place. And I know this
in between the 2 rack toms.
Some drummers want to be seen, and that's important to them. They look at me, but I'm quite content to be mysteriously concealed behind a wall of percussion instruments.
That's what you're supposed to be. Yeah. That's who you are.
I think it's fine. Yeah. I mean, Nico McBrain, he's quite a character, but he's completely hidden.
You can't see him,
and he also sits like on the floor.
Yeah,
with his knees up in the air.
And his drums are up to here.
It amazes me that he's credit to him for being able to keep doing that into his 70s. But
I guess he is getting right up there.
I remember seeing an interview where he was like probably 10 years ago. He was like, "Imagine me doing Run to the Hills when I'm 72." Like ridiculous, and now he is.
Yeah,
he's still doing it.
Yeah.
Careful what you say in interviews.
You might have to actually
do them.
Yeah. Speaking of drums, though.
Yeah.
What drums are you using on this tour?
I've got a Pearl Export kit that we bought.
I heard a rumor
the
that
show.
it might be a Pearl export
It's
kit.
Pearl
so-
export kit. It's
yeah.
fine. It took me a little while to get it in tune. We were so the first
It does.
the first show we had like 4 hours between getting to the venue and doors, in which time I also had to go to Guitar Center and buy drum heads. And
Oh my god.
so
yeah.
that was fun. But now it's respectable sounding
Yeah.
drum kit, and I've got a nice snare, and I've got cymbals from Dream Cymbals. They have provided me a set of
wonderful.
loaners, which I actually kind of prefer to my own cymbals in some ways.
Oh,
It's like
really?
it's my cymbal setup that I normally have, but it's actually they're obviously the same type, but because they're handmade, they
Yeah.
vary
They-
quite a bit
yeah,
between
yeah.
from cymbal to cymbal. But they
Absolutely.
sound great.
Yeah?
Really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those Dream cymbals. They're really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Local.
and local.
They're
yeah.
local to Toronto.
Yeah.
They're-
Based out of Toronto. Yeah, if you're in Canada, check them out.
or
Dream
anywhere
cymbals.
else.
Or
Not-
anywhere
not just
else,
in
really.
Canada.
Yeah, yeah.
All
But
good cymbal stores.
all good ones. Only the
No,
good ones.
not
though.
not all good ones, but some of the good ones.
Some of the good ones will carry them. Dream cymbals.
Yeah, Dream Cymbals. They're good. And from Canada.
That's right. And what else is from Canada? Los Cabos,
Cabos
drumsticks.
drumsticks.
That's right.
They're made of Canadian wood, I assume.
They are.
Yeah.
I assume as well. Yeah. I don't think they get wood shipped up from the
No.
States. Like-
A wood shipped from China.
Yeah, wood shipped from China.
That wouldn't,
Yeah.
that wouldn't make sense. But yeah, no, I've been using those as well. Same old
Yeah.
2Bs.
Two B's.
Or not 2Bs.
White hickory? Or red?
Red. I'm using
Red?
the
You're going red?
I've been
Okay.
using red hickory since 2015, since I started.
Yeah?
I've been kind of wondering about going down to a lighter weight stick because I don't want to injure myself.
Okay.
And I feel like maybe when you're trying to play really fast, playing with like extremely heavy sticks is not the best idea. I'm not
I don't
a big.
know.
I'm not like a large man. I'm not like a strong.
You're not a
in-
strong.
I'm not a
man.
strong man. No.
Well, I disagree.
So, but well, in man terms,
right.
If
you and like
me- but-
Eloy.
yeah.
he's
He's obviously stronger than I am, and
Yes.
he uses 5Bs. So,
right. Mm-hmm.
so am I putting an obstacle in my path? Am I going to give myself an injury? I don't know.
I usually use 2Bs, and I was waiting on an order to come in for this tour, and I didn't want to have to go to the store and buy more. And I had some 5Bs around, and I picked them up, and it was much harder to play with.
Yeah, I've tried this
Much
before.
harder.
I mean, I think I've been through. Like, I think when I started out with 2Bs when I first joined Los Cabos roster, I started with 2Bs, and then I definitely tried 5Bs at some point, and 5A intense, and I think they sent me some rock ones
Yeah.
just because they didn't have quite enough 5Bs or something, or 2Bs.
2Bs. That's what I have right now. I got 2 bricks of rock and 2 bricks of 2Bs to go on the
I think
road
they're like
with.
I don't know what the difference is. Like the tips are a little bit different.
They're a little longer.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the intense ones. They have a little more length, and I think the taper is slightly different on them. So
Yeah, the taper is a bit. I think it's the taper on the 2Bs starts earlier, doesn't it? It's like
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
I like.
yeah.
I like that
I
because
like them,
it makes
yeah.
them feel more for such a thick stick. It makes them feel a little bit more articulate,
yeah,
which is one of the things I like about Los Cabos is that articulacy compared to, for instance, like I wouldn't want to play with like Pro Mark 2Bs. I don't think because they've got the shoulder is so much like the weight
yeah,
is
yeah,
way forward.
yeah, big time.
And it completely changes the way that it rebounds and where the fulcrum is and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So
I
who
love the
knows?
2Bs. It's just it's unfortunate that like sometimes it's like shit, we're out of stock.
Yeah.
Like, and they got wood in to like make them, and like as soon as they got 2 bricks, then they like sent them out to me because they knew I needed them by
Yeah.
a certain date.
Well,
so
this is also why I don't experiment as much as I might because because they're coming to the UK and order like 50 pairs at a time.
Right.
I don't want to order 50 pairs of the wrong sticks. It's expensive.
that's it. Oh, very expensive.
It's an expensive mistake, and it takes up a lot of space. I don't have that much space at home.
Yeah.
To just fill my apartment up with sticks.
Yeah, your whole closet, just drumsticks.
I would.
Ones that you don't want to play. Like, yeah.
I mean, I've got enough stuff like that already. I would just,
Right.
like, if this happens, I do have a whole thing full of sticks that I don't use.
I have many boxes.
I've got like
many boxes.
a whole
of
set
them.
of like hoops off my bass drums that I replaced because there was something like coming slightly apart.
Yeah.
So they're now just lying around. Just got a house filled with drum related
parts.
paraphernalia stuffed into every little corner.
I got a shelf of the studio that is like all just old drum stuff and like old drum heads. And I'm like, what am I? I'm not going to use these.
I've still got old drum heads.
Like,
I've got
yeah.
like every printed bass drum head that we've ever had for Gloryhammer. I still own
You still own Wow.
and probably loads of like, because I don't like throwing. I feel like if there's still some life in it, it feels wasteful to throw it away.
Yeah.
But then
we don't throw stuff like that away. What we'll do is we'll either sell it or give it away to our specific fans, like on our Patreon page, people who like go above and beyond for us. We're like, we brought out when we played. What was the first show? North Carolina, was it Charlotte that was the first show we played together?
Yeah, I think so.
Fillmore's, or I think either way
one of the Carolinas.
It was because then we played Myrtle Beach right after that.
Yes,
which was awesome.
Yeah, House of Blues.
Blues. That's fantastic.
I remember it well.
Yeah.
I remember the alligators.
The
and
alligators.
The tacos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Vegan tacos. Second day. That was awesome.
I think we're going to House of Blues Chicago on this tour. We're going to get the tacos again.
Nice. That's exciting. We are not playing House of Blues when we go to Chicago.
Oh.
We're playing Reggie's.
I got Reggie's is okay.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
I think so.
It's like the backstage is kind of like a dungeon.
It's in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
like,
you can only get to it from the back of the stage.
Oh, I don't remember that part. I just remember it being really dark and moldy, and it has that like vibey kind of. It feels like somebody built it as a film set.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where it's like, this is a movie about rock and roll and made by somebody who doesn't really know what it's like, but actually it is like that.
Yeah. I remember
You
that.
know what I mean? Like some venues feel like it was a set designer's idea of what, if you watch like a film about rock and roll, any rock and roll type film, most of it is not going to be that true to life.
Yeah,
it's going to be sort of like this sort of idealized, glamorized version of it, or exaggerated. But just every so often, you'll go somewhere or experience something that is exactly like that. You're like, wait a minute,
yeah,
maybe it was real.
Yeah, maybe I've just been living this wrong.
We made Sozos. I say made. We encouraged Sozos to watch This Is Spinal Tap on their last tour.
He's never seen it.
He hadn't seen it.
Oh.
I think he tried to watch the beginning and then he cringed too much, so we sat him down on the bus of the last tour. We watched the whole thing, just so that he would understand
some of your sense of humor,
like "Hello Cleveland." And once you've seen that, like I don't think it's necessarily the funniest film.
No,
but particularly because you know half the script because it's so this goes to 11 and all these other it's just passed
all
into
these
common
bits that are in
these
it,
are things
right?
people say they don't even know where it comes from,
right?
But once you've seen that and you do this kind of thing for a living, it all happens to you.
Yeah.
Everything in that film has happened to us at least once. In some way or other. It's like it becomes you just I think the thing about that is you realize that it has become your life.
Yeah.
It's unsettling.
It started as like, a parody film. It's a comedy, but then you're like, no, but that's
it's so
this is the most real like rock star movie ever made.
It's so well observed that it's just true.
Yeah.
I remember I think
have you gotten lost trying to find the stage? Because I feel like that has happened more than once to us.
There's a couple of venues where they have this one in Norway, in Oslo. I think it's Rockefeller, where there's actually a sign pointing to Cleveland. Like, you go past where you're supposed to go from the backstage to the behind to like where the stage access is. There's a sign. If you go too far, there's a sign that is pointing to Cleveland. And I heard a story that goes to these like network of tunnels.
Oh,
And
no.
like actually, someone went down there and got lost for an hour and a half or something. I don't know if that's true, but that's the story I remember hearing.
Wow.
So it is real. It's like, and
it happens.
Like at least there's another venue I've been to where it's like the first thing you see when you get off the bus is big things that says "Hello Cleveland" on the wall in the Spinal Tap font. So it's like acknowledgement that this is reality.
Yeah, this is it. It's not. It can be fun. It can be fun, but
most of the time, it isn't. It's a nightmare created by Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer and the other guy.
The other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with
They
names,
created this nightmare in the early 1980s, and we are all living it forever. Like that guy from that thing who was in a real bad situation in fraternity. I forget his name.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I. I'm just... the audience can fill in the gaps.
You fill in your own gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe Sisyphus, he was carrying the rock up a hill, but it's not like that. It's some other sort of situation.
No. What would it be like? Now I'm trying to think.
It's like...
Maybe it's like when you're like an Indiana Jones situation. Because you're always searching for like the gold or like the maybe the fame or fortune or something like that, but then it's just like a boulder rolling after you.
So the boulder is going down the hill.
Yeah,
it's like an inverted Sisyphus kind of myth.
Yeah,
I don't know. I had this dream once on a tour somewhere. I forget when it was, but I had this dream that I was playing a show, but I didn't know what band it was. I was like, it was a band I wasn't familiar with. I was playing the drums, and I didn't know the songs. I was just trying to. You've probably all been in this situation at some point where you're playing songs you're not that sure of, and you're trying to figure out how it goes, and then suddenly everything changed, and I was in a different venue playing drums with a different band at a different gig.
And you still didn't know the song?
And I didn't know those songs. And then I was trying to struggle to get to grips with that one. And then it happened. It kept happening. Like constantly changing it to different bands.
That you didn't know.
I was very relieved when I woke up because that was that was too much.
And you were on tour at the time?
Yeah, I was in a tour bus having this dream.
Yeah, you woke up, you're like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm still in Gloryhammer.
I think I had a dream about like there was a Gloryhammer related one where we were going to play a new song, and I pressed play on the for the playback and stuff for the click, and then I realized that the song didn't exist. Like we hadn't written the song yet. We were at the gig about to play the song, but we hadn't written it, so nothing happened.
How are you supposed to have a click track for it?
I know there was no click because there was no song.
There was no song. Yeah.
I think again I woke up just after that, very relieved.
Yeah, it's like no, we're not playing any new songs ever.
Well,
no,
you have to write the song. First, you write the song, then you get the power, then you get the sugar.
Then you get the sugar.
Yeah,
is that how it works?
Yeah. You know, it's like that Simpsons episode where Homer finds all the sugar by the side of the road and he takes it home.
Right.
And it's got like bolts and things in it. And he sells it for like a day and then it rains.
Then it rains and
he's
so good.
This kind of says, I think it's maybe like Scarface reference or something like that.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah. So it's just imagine that what I said made sense.
Okay.
And it will all be fine.
Yeah, it made sense. First you write the song.
Then you get
the power?
The sugar.
I thought it was the power, then the sugar.
Yeah, I think.
Or do you get the sugar,
women.
then
I think
the
he
power?
maybe says, but it's
the women.
I think he says that, but it's first you get the sugar, then you get. But it doesn't matter because we're not talking about that.
Okay, we're not talking about that. All right, well, why don't we wrap up this awesome conversation that's definitely about drums?
Yeah,
there
was drums.
There was some
there.
drums. Yeah. So you guys are just kind of starting out this awesome tour. Mm-hmm. What is it? What's this tour called? The Hootsies?
The tour officially it's the Red, White, and Hoots.
Red, White, and Hoots tour in North America.
Yeah.
And you guys are out with Twilight
Force, who are very good.
Yeah?
very good. And that we've been. This is the first tour we've done together since 2014. It was about just over 9 years ago. That was their first ever tour, and it was our first ever European tour. And now we've come full circle, and we are touring together again.
That's awesome.
Nice. But they're really like exceptionally good live band.
I'm actually really excited to see them tonight. I totally forgot. I was just focused like, okay, gonna see Gloryhammer guys and Ben. It's gonna be great. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, Twilight Force is playing.
Yeah,
like I fucking love them. They're great.
You're a fan.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it's
just like classic European power metal. It's amazing.
It's cool because I feel like both bands formed around the same time, independently of one another. Neither was directly inspired by the other, but we all basically have the same influences to start. Right. Rhapsody and Balsagoth and all that kind of thing. But we've gone in very different directions.
Very
increasingly,
much so,
and they've like.
Well, you guys went to space.
We did the space thing, but also like thematically as well, but also musically, they've stuck with they've taken the kind of the Rhapsody formula and they've gone as big as possible with it.
Right.
Just gone like it's all like through composed, complicated modulations and millions of notes and all kinds of crazy musical things going on.
That.
And we've gone maybe a bit more, obviously we have our moments of that, but we've gone in a much more kind of stripped down, like almost like more pop direction, but also darker. I think like we've got a few more like black metal elements and maybe some more of that the Balsagoth thing. Yeah, the kind of like evil space metal.
Then the like super happy,
and they've gone as flowery and bright and happy as possible, which is cool because that's not like it's not easy to do convincingly.
No, it's not.
It's not something that you can. In fact, I think it's harder than writing it's harder than writing like a thrash riff.
Oh yeah,
anyone can sit down and write like chuggy, palm mutey riffs, but to write something that sounds like a meadow on a summer's day that's also metal, that takes it takes a lot of talent and skill.
It does
to put something like that together.
Yeah, so. and do it well and write a full album and like keep pumping it out and like it's not easy to write that style of power metal. It's really not. No, it's way easier to be like darker and aggressive and like all that stuff because it's a little more natural to want to come out of you, right? Yeah. So.
And it's kind of, I suppose there's more stuff to copy for want of a, but like that's metal, isn't it? Most metal isn't power metal, and most power metal isn't Twilight Force.
Twilight Force.
So they're very much doing their own thing, which I think is cool.
Yeah. Well, good luck on the rest of this tour. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'm stoked to see you guys tonight. We're at Phoenix Concert Theater in Toronto. You guys got like another month on the road.
Don't say it. I don't want to think about it. Today's the last show.
This is it.
Then I go to bed.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. one more show, then you go to bed.
Yep.
Yeah, because you guys were out with Beast in Black like shortly before this too, right?
Yeah. So and
that was co-headlining.
Yeah.
So yeah. You're still doing long
shows and winter touring as well is always a bit more grueling than this is the first time we've been on tour in winter in North America.
Well, so the beautiful day today.
It was nice. Yeah. No, it
felt like
nice
a summer
weather.
Day. Like
if summer was cold,
it was not as it's not as warm in Toronto as where I am.
Maybe it's always
in Hamilton. It was like plus 17 is beautiful.
Okay.
Sunny skies.
Yeah, it was nice.
Loved it.
It was nice. I had a nice breakfast.
Okay.
And I was in Canada.
What'd you have for breakfast?
I had eggs Benedict.
Ooh.
Yeah, with what's that ham? The pea
meal bacon.
Pea meal bacon. Yeah. I'd never had that before.
Yeah. We call it Canadian bacon.
That's an Ontario thing, though, isn't it? The pea meal specifically.
It's a Canadian thing.
Well, it's not what it said on Wikipedia. It said it was Ontario specifically.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. I just grew up here, so I just assumed that.
I just grew up here. I didn't read the Wikipedia article.
Right? You and your Wikipedia. But female bacon is the best. So, Yeah. I do not eat it anymore, but
if one does eat it, it's the best at being itself.
Itself. And on that note, thank you for joining me for this interesting podcast today, Ben. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll see you on stage.
Cool.
As your submarine captain self.
Oh, I don't have a submarine anymore. That was last album. I'm
no
now,
more submarine? What do you got now?
I don't know. It's a different hat,
Different. What do you captaining?
I don't think I have a vehicle this time.
Just yourself.
Yeah.
Your vehicle is your flesh body.
That's one. Yes.
Yeah.
My robot made of skin that I live inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Thank you
You're welcome
for doing this. We'll see you later.
Bye.